But these protests are not illegal. Nobody's done anything wrong, but that may change soon. If there are buffer zones, exclusion zones, what do you think people should do at that stage? How should people react? Should they respect the law?
Well, it's interesting because Catherine Noone immediately tweeted, once she saw the photograph of 7 people standing, peacefully with placards in their hands. It was a silent protest. It was like a vigil in Galway. They weren't blocking the door. They weren't trying to talk to anybody. And she immediately tweeted, and this is a legislator. This is not just an abortion campaigner or a random commentator. This is a legislator, somebody who has that kind of power in this country. She tweeted, outrageous. This intimidating behaviour will not be tolerated.
Well, the law it's going to become illegal to.
Well, let's have a look at that, because we have a constitutional right to protest. So Harris is going to have to try to draft law which marries those two things: the constitutional right to protest and his belief that you shouldn't be allowed
let's say he manages,
to offer women a different option than abortion.
Let's say he manages to do that, and you're right to question if it's possible, because the Constitution is never straightforward. But let's say he manages to do that. Should people respect the law if it becomes illegal?
Well, I'm just if I finish the point I was making first, because here's what I think is interesting about it. Like, Noone's used the words she used there, I think, are very telling. She said this behaviour will not be tolerated. And I think we're entering a very dangerous kind of scenario where you have a legislator deciding what kind of peaceful protest will not be tolerated. To me, that's like a step towards totalitarianism. And I would advise people to think, whatever their opinions are on abortion, if you think of all the other kind of protests that take place, whether it's about the banks, whether it's about water charges, whether it's about the nurses going out on strike, whether it's about anything that opposes government policy, we're seeing senators saying that behaviour will not be tolerated. It's a very dangerous step for this country to take, where you have political parties agreeing that they won't tolerate peaceful protests because they don't agree with what the protesters are saying. That's very, very dangerous.
Okay.
And I believe personally that if that law was passed, that law is an unjust law and should have no moral authority, and I would be very happy to break it.
All right, well, we'll come back and talk, I'm sure, again about all of this in the future. I have to leave it there for now, and thank you indeed, as always. Niamh Bhriain, spokesperson for the Life Institute.
Michael Reid on LMFM.